Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie. How are we today? We are using the You Are the Light of the World die set. We're going to use it a little bit differently. I'm not going to use probably 90% of it, frankly. I have the handles. I have the long bit is sort of connected leaves, which makes it super easy. You can just punch out or die cut out 5 of the babies in one foul swoop, which is really handy. I've got some centers. The yellow is centers, the black is like the stamen, and then this one is the flowers. The handles that you can see in white are going to be, you can see there, I've cut one standard and then I've partially cut, which wasn't actually very hard. You think because it was so tiny, it was hard. It was not. And then I've just trimmed down with the scissors. So I have used scattered straw on my centers. And I've already done some of the flowers. So we're going to sort of show you these two, which is sort of the larger and the medium. And I'm going to use worn lipstick for those babies. And then I have a little bit of lost shadow just on my handles, and I'm going to use a little bit on the actual, you saw me cut out a rectangle, have a rectangle in my hands, and then I use a corner chomper. I've been sick, okay? So my brain is getting back there, but words, I'm losing words today. Let's be honest, it's quite often. But anywho, I have lost shadow on the end, sort of on the bottom left-hand corner of my bag. And we're just putting together our last little flower. So they're very easy. So basically out of the Light of the World die set, which was in the last release, I'm just going to use the flowers, the leaves, and the handles and make myself a little bag. I left the one of them sort of partially cut so I could have the longer handles, just so I could sort of have that raised a little bit. Positioning, I've die cut 2 of these flowers, 2 of the leaves. So you have 2 of them, but I die cut it 2 times. As I said, the one foul swoop, you can die cut about 5 of the other leaves, which we will use. And I'm just positioning them around everywhere and getting glue on my fingers and making sure they stick. Anywho, so what is happening in your end of the world? It is cold. Yeah. We don't get snow. Not where I live. We do get snow in Australia, but not where I live. And so it's not that cold, but for Melbourne, it's pretty cold. But it's a lovely day outside, and it's just, we're just enjoying snuggling up and having the warmth. So I know a lot of American peeps, and I think British actually are having a lot of heat wave at the moment. So stay hydrated, stay cool. I personally like to be, I'm one of those girls that like the summer. But, you know, winter is not bad. Staying inside and keeping warm and doing all those things like nice kitchen-y, garden-y things, because we're not that cold. So we can still get out into the garden on nice clear days. Sorry, I had a coughing fit. I have a little piece of cardstock. I am going to use a very old anti-static pad and some Versamark, and we're going to stamp some clouds. Now, these stamps are from the set Up, Up and Away. So I'm going to basically stamp the clouds, rotating them around the whole of this piece, and we've heat embossed that. I'm just going to go over it with a little bit of weathered wood. It's not too dark. It's just enough to bring this embossing out that little bit and give it a little bit of texture as well. I wanted some balloons. Now you could stamp this with lots of different balloons, I wasn't too worried. I have stamped extra a little monkey and the elephant because I had this space. So it's like, why not? Let's stamp out some more. So we might see those in another video later on down the track. So my monkey is going to be E35, 33, and 31. I have R24 his tiny little bit of ears. We're sort of keeping it relatively simple. Quite often I'll do like 4 colours of Copic markers and just 4 or 5 actually, honestly, sometimes 5. But this time we're just keeping it down to the 3. We're not including the R20, okay? That's just a tiny bit. And his face, I'm pretty much just going to, I'm not going to use the R35, I'm just going to bring it down to 33 and 31. So it's going to be lighter, but not too much that it's going to be, look, too funny. So there is my balloon. Now my balloons are going to be, and there's my monkey I should say, my balloons are going to be a sort of a muted, softer rainbow because, I don't know, who doesn't like a rainbow? So I have R22, R20 and R01 for my red. I've left this in to show you how I'm going to colour it, but the other ones we're going to cut it down because I go over the image like 2 times. And so now you won't have, it'll be a little bit shorter for your viewing pleasure. I have R38, R35 and Y38, Y35 and Y32 for my quotation marks orange. Y15, Y13 and Y11, YG25, YG03 and YG21. I quite like this combination for a green. I may have to revisit that often. I have a lot of charts. We'll go back to that. B24, B23 and B21 for our blue. And then with our purples, we're going to use BV17, V25 and V22. Now, I have a book of a whole heap of colour combinations. It's a whole folder of colour charts. If you don't have one of these, work on getting yourself at least a little exercise book that you can write down combinations. I have this with pencils and I have this with Copic markers as well. It's extremely handy because you're not reinventing the wheel, so to speak, each time you want to colour. You have, I think everyone pretty much has their combinations that they really, really enjoy. But if you want something a little bit different, you've got colour combinations. So use videos like this to jot down the colours if you like them and save it for later. I have used a little tiny bit of tissue paper and scrunched it up. We've got foam on the back of all our elements and I've just stuck them onto a bit of a release paper. I learnt that one from another YouTuber. Trying to think, I will leave the information down below, trying to think of their name, but their words, their name is just like skipping out of my head. So the last thing I'm going to do is just go in with some clear drops. The sentiment is out of the same stamp set, just stamped with a bit of VersaFine, and that is my card. So I hope you like it. I will leave all the information down below. If you're interested in the stamp sets, those links will be down below. Here's a couple more videos for you to watch if you have some time. So enjoy your day, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care. Bye.